Hey lovelies, it's Anne. Welcome to today's training on how to raise your prices and confidently increase client signups. I am super excited to guide you through the strategies and techniques that I've used, and I've also helped my clients to implement to scale their businesses to 30K, 50K, and 100K month. Now, if you've been following me for more than a minute, you'll know I'm an advocate for keeping business simple and focusing on just one or two high ticket offers, right? As that's been an absolute game changer for me and also for my clients. And to be clear, when I talk about raising our prices, it's not just about putting a high price on something that's not worth it, but about really delivering more value, right? And having the confidence to ask for what you're truly worth. And I'm going to break this down and go through this step by step. But before I go into the training, let me just super quickly introduce myself to those of you who may be new to my world. I'm Anne Ryan, a business mentor and money mindset coach, and I help my clients to improve their offers, right? Or in some cases, to create a new high ticket offer that is so good that it practically sells itself. Now, I'm going to touch on the importance of this in this training a little bit more, but I also show my clients how to accelerate their authority so they can take their prospects from cold to sold really fast. And I teach my clients how to implement a predictable organic client acquisition strategy so they can bring in consistent income month after month without needing a large audience, right? So it's all organic. And if you are already at around that 5K mark, or you've made a few sales and you really want to scale your business to 30K, 50K, or 100K months, then drop hashtag support in the comments or send me a private message. I'd love to have a conversation with you. I offer an ROI guarantee. So to be a good fit from my perspective, you have to have made some sales and you've got to be an action taker, right? It is absolutely essential that you are ready to take action because that's what's required to get incredible results. No, I'm not talking about hustling, but I'm talking about taking action. So, hey everyone. Hey, thank you all for being here. I am going to dive right into the training and share the steps for raising your prices and confidently signing up clients yourself, right? Please ask any questions as I go. I am just going to go through this training and circle back at the end to answer the questions, right? So I'm trying that out today. The first step is to look at defining your value. This is such an important step when it comes to packaging and positioning your offer as well, right? So start by thinking about your own business. What unique value does your product or service provide? So I'm going to give you some examples. For instance, if you're a business coach like me, you might provide personalized, customized guidance and strategies to help businesses to make not only more income, but also more profit, right? So that would be your value proposition. Or I'm going to give you other examples. If you're a parenting coach, you might guide parents on how to manage their emotions as well as their children's behavior, right? And so that could be incredibly valuable. And your proposition could be that it's going to bring back this harmony into their family and it's going to have a huge positive impact on the family, right? And so what is that worth to them? Perhaps you're a weight loss coach and you create tailored nutrition and fitness plans and provide ongoing accountability, because accountability could be the thing that your clients haven't had in on their journey previously to weight loss, right? And that's exactly what they're looking for. And you could go on to say that you address sort of the underlying factors affecting weight gain. Yeah. And so you're doing that deeper work, and you might be able to demonstrate that your clients will experience so much more than just weight loss. Perhaps they'd have improved energy, mental clarity, a reduction in other related health issues, and maybe even needing, like less medication for diabetes or something else that they might be dealing with, right? So these are all ways of demonstrating your value or defining your value as well, right? So the question to ask yourself is, what is solving these high value problems actually worth to your clients? Yeah. What is it actually worth to your clients? Now, it all starts with defining the value, right? Of what it is that you deliver. And almost every single client who starts working with me increases their price immediately when they start working with me, right? Because we get crystal clear on defining value and their value proposition, right? So I'm going to give you another example based on my own business, because here I am sharing my value proposition, right? So, for example, my client Tamika, who's a coach in the construction industry, right? Now, she not only helps her clients to make money, that's one aspect of it. That's the kind of very surface level problem that people have. But at a more deeper level, she teaches them how to create more time, right? And that is the biggest problem that contractors in the construction industry have, because they are trading their time often to make money, right? So she's teaching them all these strategies that can help them to not only scale their income, but also save a ton of their time, right? So they have more time for their family. So, they have their evenings and weekends free with their significant partners and their children and all those things, and they're not sort of working on quotes and looking at jobs and doing all those sorts of things on evenings and weekends, because they're actually working in their business during the day. Now, she understands her clients, and that is the value proposition, right? And as a result of getting super clear on that, right, she was able to increase her prices. And not only did she increase her prices, but she actually ended up leveraging her time as well by transitioning from one-to-one coaching to group coaching. Yeah. And went from sort of plateauing around that kind of 15K per month mark, to then having 30K months, 50K months, and even a $75,000 month, right? Just from making these little tweaks. So increasing her pricing resulted in her actually serving way, way, way more clients too, because she was able to really get clear and define the value of her work. Yeah. So let me know if you have any questions, ask them in the comments, and I will circle back to you, because I'm just going to go through the whole training and then come back and have the conversation. So the next thing to look at is pricing strategies, right? And more importantly, understanding the psychology of pricing. Pricing is not just about the numbers, right? It's about the perception that people have. So think about brands like Apple, for example. Apple phones, Apple computers, all the things. Now, they charge premium prices because they've created the perception of value and quality. Yeah. Would you agree? Now, with that in mind, consider how you can use pricing psychology in your own business. Yeah. So, for instance, you might create a premium package that offers some sort of exclusive access to you. Yeah. Or you may provide something else, right, that is of value that nobody else in your market is providing. And that is the key. This is like, we can't be like absolutely everyone else and expect to stand out and expect people to pay us more, right? This is the thing. We need to identify what differentiates us and where we bring in a whole new level of value, right? And understand the psychology as well behind the pricing. So value-based pricing is a strategy where you align your prices with the value that your customers perceive in your product or service. It's all about the perception, right? That's the key. So let me give you an example of like a graphic designer. Yeah. If a graphic designer's work consistently helps their clients to attract more customers, increase their brand visibility, and actually bring in more income, then that graphic designer can confidently charge a premium price as a result because they're delivering real value and not just the graphics, not just pretty designs, if you like. Yeah. Does this make sense? It's about the perceived value. And the interesting thing, right? The interesting thing about the psychology of pricing is that people perceive higher price as being of higher value. Yeah. Think about it. Think about your own perceptions, right? Do you assume that something that is a higher price is a higher value, or do you see it as being equal to something that is significantly cheaper? Now, I've shared this story before and I'm going to share it again. It's about a wine taste test that was done, right? It was done on 3 bottles of wine that had exactly the same contents inside of the bottle, but they had different labels and different pricing. The most expensive bottle was voted as tasting the best, and the cheapest bottle was voted as tasting the worst. When in fact, all 3 bottles had exactly the same contents, right? Now that's the perception of value. Yeah. And this is not to say we can get away with charging more when we don't provide value, right? So in the real world, the wine that was that tasted the same but had a higher price tag probably wouldn't sell in the long term, right? Because people would try the other wines and kind of go, hold on, this wine kind of tastes the same, so why am I paying more? Yeah. But in the first instance, people perceive something with that higher price as being of higher value, right? And by charging less and not charging enough, by underpricing your services, people will perceive our offers as being inferior. And that perception is just based on price. So you're picking up what I'm putting down here, right? This is now the psychology of pricing, right? So I'm going to move on and talk about the third step to work on, and that is your actual mindset around pricing. Now, confidence is key. When it comes to pricing, when I think about my journey as a business coach, I've learned so many lessons to reinforce that raising my prices are not just for my benefit, but actually also benefit my clients. I have so much evidence that when someone is more invested, they actually show up more for their investment, and therefore they end up getting much better results. I've done this. I've seen it with my own eyes. I've experienced it in my own business, right? That as soon as I increased my pricing, I attracted a client who was just so much more committed once they invested, and therefore got much better results because not a lot else changed. Yeah. I mean, sure, I've continued to evolve and grow myself. I'm not taking anything away from that, but I could actually see the difference in the client and how they showed up as well, right? I also know personally that if someone is too cheap, I immediately assume that they're not very good at what they do, right? That's my mindset. Yeah. And effectively sort of communicating value is super, super crucial. Yeah. Sharing stories of incredible client results is kind of like one of the ways of, it's a great way of communicating value as well. And you will see I do that all the time. I do it while I'm doing these trainings. I do it in written posts. I'm often referring to client results as part of communicating the value, right? Because that's the easiest way, because it's kind of like you can talk the talk, but you need to also demonstrate, right? You need to show this. So you can use a compelling case study or customer testimonials to highlight the results you've been able to achieve as well. This is super important, like I do all the time, right? And when it comes to selling, back when I used to get on sales calls, because if you've been again following my journey, you'll know that I don't do sales calls anymore. But back when I used to get on sales calls, I would have handled the objection about price before it was even raised. And I'm going to share exactly how you can do the same, right? By sharing my value proposition and then asking. And then asking the prospect that I'm speaking to how much it would be worth for them to solve their problem. So say my value proposition is, I'm going to help you to create an offer that's so good that it practically sells itself. I'm going to help you to accelerate your authority so you can take your prospects from cold to sold fast. On average, this is my value proposition, right? So on average, my, 70% of my clients sign up to work with me within 5 days of knowing me. So I have that strategy to share, and I'll show you how to implement a predictable organic strategy so you can attract clients consistently month after month and bring in consistent income month after month, right? So what is that worth to you? Now, this is way before I've talked about price. I asked them on the call, is this going to be helpful? And what is this worth to you? And they often said that it was priceless, right? Or they would name a price that would be way higher than what my actual investment would be. Yeah. Because if my value proposition is I'm going to help you to make 30, 50 or 100K months, what would that be worth to you? And I'm going to do all these things to help you to achieve that. What would that be worth to you? Because this is not about making money once. This is about making money over and over and over again. What would that be worth to you? And so obviously the value proposition then becomes higher than the actual investment, right? And this can apply to all niches, not just money making, right? It absolutely applies to all niches. I work with clients across many different niches. Yeah. So whether it's relationships, whether it's love, whether it's parenting, whether it's health, whether it's weight loss, any of those other, it still applies. It's about understanding that value proposition and then asking people, well, what is it worth to you to solve this problem before you even present the price? Yeah. Let me know if you have any questions on that as I go through to the final thing that I want to talk about. And that is when it comes to implementing this, right? When it comes to implementing the price change and making that transition, a practical step for implementing a price increase is to do a big promotion or launch just before the increase. Yeah. I do this all the time. I do this at least a couple of times a year. Yeah. I've had my biggest sales weeks and months just before a price increase. Yeah. Which can also add to a lot of confidence after the increase. Yeah. It really does. So to address any concerns about losing prospects who may be on the fence, by doing a big promotion, it encourages them to get off the fence and actually to make the decision to work with us, right? Because they're either in or they're out. Now, I've monitored the impact of these price changes on my business. And I've had, I ask people, I've got customer feedback, I track my revenue growth, I conduct surveys with my clients because I want to know the impacts that this is having. And there have been no negative impacts at all, right? And in fact, by doing this, by actually monitoring and asking questions and just getting feedback from my clients and and my audience and so on, I've actually then kind of almost adapted my strategy based on the data that I've collected, right? So what I mean by this is that I get feedback from my clients, for example, and I incorporate the feedback that I received to then increase the value again, right? Because by increasing my prices, I've also been able to kind of increase the level of support that I offer. I've been able to sort of, I've attracted a client that is investing at a higher level, who's also worked with other service providers and they've invested at a higher level. And then, I'm able to get their feedback as to, well, how, from their perspective, how am I different? Am I giving more? Am I giving less? What do they need? What's missing? And I incorporate all of that into my programs and my offerings because I can. I've been able to earn more while working with less clients. So I've been able to provide a much higher touch service too, right? And I still continue to have a whole lot of impact through delivering all my free trainings and other things that I do. And I've also been able to bring in specialist coaches and experts into my programs, right? Um, to help my clients even more than, because that's not necessarily my area of expertise, but potentially. And that's obviously then adding even more value to my offering and to my clients' results. Yeah. So that's essentially what I wanted to cover today, right? That defining your value, understanding the psychology of pricing and the perception that people have, and then working on your mindset, and then stepping into that, the confidence that's required. And like I was saying, this, if you don't believe in yourself, in the true value that you have to offer, you can't. I shared this post, I haven't said it on this particular training, but I shared a post about this. If you undercharge, how can you expect somebody else to see the value if you don't see the value in yourself? Yeah. So I'm going to see if you have any questions here. Hello from Vancouver. Lovely to see you. I'm so sorry, I've got no names. What would be my value proposition from a magnetic intuition trainer, a transformational coach, and acupuncturist? Andrea, I know who you are. So even though I can't see your name, look, your value proposition is the results that you get for your clients. That your value proposition is the support that you provide to your clients. Your value proposition is the outcome of working with you. It's not about the acupuncture or about the magnetic intuition or any of those things. It's about the result of that, right? And because I know you a little bit, it's about the transformative results you get for their clients. It's about the quantum changes that they experience in themselves. It's about the downstream impacts all those changes have on themselves, their family, their relationships, their money, so that's the value proposition. And that's the thing, and I keep talking about this, and not just to you, Andrea, but just generally, we're selling, too many people are just selling their products or their services, but they're not selling the solution. They're not selling the results. They're not selling, and they're sort of selling the surface level problem, the first problem, but they're not then talking about the next layer and the deeper benefits that someone's going to experience from working with them, right? It's not just about helping somebody to make money, for example, coming back to a business coach. It's about then what that means to them, the freedom, their lifestyle, their family, their experiences, their ability to support their community and their families and giving back and all those other things that are also important. It's not just about the money. And that's the thing to keep. And guys, you need to kind of like, I draw this out of my clients, but I don't have the answer for every single niche. And if you don't have the answer, you've got to kind of figure this out from all the things that, from the conversations that you've had with your clients and truly understanding what that means. So, Andrea, using you as an example, I know you say you get 80% and 100% results. But what does that mean? That's just a number. It doesn't actually mean anything. What does that actually mean for the client, for the client's family, for the client's life, for the client's business? Even confidence. What does it mean to have more confidence? Yeah, go deeper, because that's when the true value is understood. It's not just about solving the problem, but what does solving the problem actually mean to that person, to how they feel, how they look, how they show up in life, in business, in relationships, and all those things. I hope that helps. I perceive a higher value, higher price as higher value. Yeah. What is your opinion about beta pricing for a new offer? Look, I think, I think sometimes it makes sense to do that, right? Because if you don't already have testimonials, then and social proof and case studies and all those sorts of things, then doing something at a sort of beta price makes sense. But then, you've got to then increase your prices, right? So I have stepped my pricing up every 6 months or so. And it's based on how my clients have performed and the better results that I've achieved, and the more I've invested in myself and my knowledge and my skills and my craft to as well, right? So it's a reflection of both. So yeah, I mean, I'm not against the concept of starting at a lower price point, because otherwise, if you don't have the social proof, if you don't have, if you can't demonstrate that you can definitely get results, then you've got to provide some sort of a guarantee, perhaps. Yeah. So that's another way of taking the risk away from our clients, because we can't expect our clients, prospects rather, to kind of pay a high price point with no social proof, with no evidence that what we do works, with no guarantees, with no nothing, but just they're taking our word for it. So start at wherever, at whatever price point feels like a no-brainer price for people, and then you keep increasing it. I'm a big fan of providing some sort of a guarantee, because, if you're betting on yourself, then you should be able to get those results. But I'm not saying it's essential, but I'm saying it's one of the ways. Sorry, guys. Have the right partner or not having the wrong one is priceless. It can actually save you real money too. Absolutely. I mean, the cost of divorce is really high, right? The cost of emotional pain, that if we're in the wrong relationship, right? The cost of time if we stay with the wrong partner, the cost of loneliness, right? And I'm not saying cost of from a monetary perspective, but there's an impact. And so, absolutely, it is priceless. It is for some, and it may not be for others, because some don't necessarily value relationship. Love and connection is something that absolutely everyone needs, but some people value it higher than others, right? So unfortunately, some people have been burnt in bad relationships, and they kind of go, all right, I don't want this anymore. And then there are others who kind of really love and are willing to do what it takes to change themselves and to to find their right life partner. So, yeah, people perceive and value it in different ways. Thank you so much, Anne. And I need to ask, what does that mean for my clients, to their families, business, life, health, energy? Absolutely. We've all got to be looking at this, right? And asking these questions to really, truly understand the impact of the work that we do. So we can then, that becomes part of our value proposition. Typically, if you've been doing what you've been doing for a little while, you kind of know these things as well. But, if you're doing something reasonably new, the more questions you ask, the more you'll be able to find out as well. Let me know if you have any other questions at all. I will come back and answer all the questions anyway. Thank you for joining this training. This is such an important topic, and like, raising your prices truly is so important for you, for why you're in business, to actually really achieve the result and the outcome that you truly desire. Because you got into business for a particular reason, right? You have a very strong why, and I will guarantee you cannot achieve your why unless you charge more, unless you charge appropriately. Because whether you're doing it for personal reasons, so you have more flexibility and freedom to hang out with your family and that kind of thing, or whether you're doing it for more external reasons because you want to have more impact and leave a legacy and all those kind of things, either reason, right? To be truly kind of successful, you've got to own your worth, and you've got to charge more. And as a result of doing that, you will attract the most incredible clients too. Yeah. And remember, raising your price is not just about making more money, yeah, but about delivering more value and building a really, really sustainable business for yourself. Yeah. Because that's the thing. Like, every time I increase my prices, I also bring in more value into my programs because I can. Yeah. And as you move forward, focus on understanding the unique value that you offer. Like be smart with your pricing strategies, and like, step it up slowly if you need to. Make a couple of, like, you can increase your price after you've made 2 sales, and then increase your price after you've made another 2 sales, and so on. So it doesn't have to take forever for you to reach that kind of price point where you feel really good about it, right? There's no resentment, and you're willing to kind of over deliver because you've been appropriately compensated for your work. Yeah. And keep working on your confidence, right? The confidence has to come from within. And I've sort of shared, like, I've got so much confidence around my pricing because I have directly seen the impact, the benefits of increasing my prices, and how it's benefited and impacted me, but also my clients, because they have shown up in such a different way when they've been more invested. I know this firsthand, right? I know how I will show up for an investment if I've paid a couple of $100 compared to if I've paid $20,000. Trust me. It's very different energy and investment, and I am going to be so much more committed to doing the work to get the results. Aren't you? Yeah. So with these sorts of tools in hand, like, raising your prices and increasing client sign, it won't have an impact on your client signups, right? It's this that has the impact. It's your own mindset. It's your own perception of the value that you offer. It's your own belief systems that need to shift, right? So if you'd like my support to do this, to increase your prices and close more sales, and you'd like to explore what working with me looks like, comment #support or send me a private message, send me a DM, and I would love to have a conversation just to see if we're a good fit. I don't work with absolutely everyone that I speak to. Go out there and do it, right? Just raise your price. What have you got to lose? Just raise your price even by 10% today, and see what the impact is, and see how much more value can you potentially add to your offers as well. All right, I am going to leave it at that. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I will come back and make sure I answer all your questions. You're so welcome, Charlotte. I look forward to seeing you all on the internet. Thanks for watching. Bye.